Good morning, baby gamers.
This is Breaking the Lore,
A show where two girlfriends dig deep.
to find the weirdest and most obscure bits of trivia.
I'm Nissa's girlfriend, Sarah.
And I'm Sarah's girlfriend, Nissa.
So buckle up, because tonight's episode is...
Ho ho ho! It's Santa Claus.
That was a pretty weak ho ho ho.
Fuck you.
No, okay, hold on. Fine.
You're so mean. You just had to show me up in front of everyone.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's so... Wow.
Sorry.
Maybe I'll leave the show. Maybe this is it.
Wait, no.
Are you guys ready for this to be the last episode? Are you ready to hear creative differences?
No.
In a live episode?
Differences.
So it's not live. I don't know why I said that, but here's creative differences that will lead to
creative
the band breaking up.
No.
Pressures from a dwindling fan base. What's that? What is it?
Infighting due to pressures from a dwindling fan base.
Maybe one of you will have an anniversary and forget to get a present, and then you can get us back together.
We'll break the lore at your anniversary party.
This isn't a Phineas and Ferb episode. I don't know why I'm doing this bit. Well, either way, this is going to be a very weird and very different episode because we're doing Santa Claus, and it's honestly even going to be less traditional than last episode, which was already a pretty non-traditional episode. So, yeah. So I guess starting it with the question as always. So what age did you,
Did I what?
What age did you, realize that it's parents?
What's parents?
Your name's not Sharina from Fire Emblem Heroes.
Listen, as long as we're talking about fictional characters who canonically believe in Santa Claus, I want to mention Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid.
Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid canonically believes in Santa Claus?
Yes!
Are you serious?
Yes! I'm gonna find that real quick.
I know Callie Calamari also does. But Big Boss? Are you sure he wasn't, joking or something?
No. Okay. So in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Huey Emmerich, he asks Big Boss if he knows anything about NORAD, and Big Boss is like, yeah, they track Santa Claus. And then Huey's like, no, seriously. And Big Boss is like, no, he's real. He's very firm. He's very firm that he's real. He used to bring me presents.
That raises so many questions.
What questions?
Well, does that mean that Big Boss believes that there's a specific age where Santa's I'm done with you? Is it 18? Is it actually that's a very good question. I'm actually very curious. What age is Santa done with you?
I mean, I don't think Santa's ever done with you.
So do adults? But he has to think. But because. We'll get into this later. We'll get into this later. Because actually, you're right. I think there's different things, in different series, it implies that he either does things for adults or doesn't. So, but that raises so many questions, and we're going to get into all those questions. But first, I asked you a question.
What was your question?
Are you kidding me?
I was trying to do a bit, but fine.
The question was, at what age did you realize it's the parents?
Today.
It's not true.
No, I think I was I think I was 11.
Aw.
What?
Tender. That's a tender age.
Well, how old were you?
So tender and mild. I don't actually know because I don't know what ages grades correlate to. I'm kind of dumb like that. Okay, can you tell me then?
Yes. Tell me what grade you were in, I guess.
It was end of 6th grade, start of 7th grade.
So you would have been 13.
Okay, so only a little older than you.
Yeah.
So you would have been like the end of elementary school. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, well, what was the catalyst for you?
Just kind of the general vibe that, like, I think I had known for like a little while longer, but I wasn't like, I didn't feel like it. Like, I was like, nah. So, but like just the general vibe that, like, it didn't seem like anyone else in my age group really thought that he was real, and I was like, I guess that, like, probably means I should, like, keep it to myself.
Peer
but
pressure.
Then I was like, yeah, it was basically peer pressure, yeah. I think that's the biggest summation of it, I think, yeah. What about you? What was your catalyst?
For me, it was television. Because, like, I was watching, just, like, a lot of, like, TV and stuff, and I just kind of realized that, like, in shows that aren't, like, made for children, people don't believe in Santa Claus. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh, then he isn't real. Huh.
Oh, at the tender age of 11, you were watching adult TV and realized that.
I wouldn't even say adult TV. It was like Nick at Night.
Aww.
I think it was like probably like Home Improvement or something. I don't know.
I know Kara was really not into. Can I tell stories about my
Yeah,
family? I guess
you can tell. This is
a
a Christmas episode. It's a Christmas episode. We're supposed to be doing that. Like, come on.
I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about when Anna figured it out, because she's very, like, keeps to herself. So I don't really know. But with Kara, oh my God, that was a day.
Oh gosh.
I think it was when I was in 9th grade, or similar to around then. It was either when I was in 9th grade or 8th grade, but I think 9th grade. And it, like, I don't remember how she found out. I don't remember if it was, like, someone slipped up or if someone at school had said something. But, and she's 6 years younger than me, so she would have been elementary school, I think. 'Cause if I was in 9th grade, she would have been... If she's 6 years younger than me, what would she have been in? If I was in 9th grade.
If you were in 9th grade, she would have been like 8 or 9.
Okay, yeah. So she was, like, probably in late elementary school. Or mid-elementary school, I guess. And
like 3rd or 4th grade.
So she like, had crisis.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it was really stressful. She, like, flipped out. She was mad at everyone. She, like, she was, like, crying, and, like, it was awful. Like, I can kind of laugh at it because it was, like, however many years ago at this point. Like, it was over a decade ago at this point, actually. So it's kind of funny to look back on it and be like, wow, that was rough. But I think it was, because I think she took it in kind of like a, like, less like, oh, it's upsetting that he's not real way, and more of a, like, oh, my parents have been lying to me way. So I think it was like a sort of trust issue type thing, and but yeah, so when I found out, it was like I was disappointed, but it was like a peer pressure thing, and then Anna was quiet about it, and then she had like a full out crisis about it, and she honestly then continued to believe in Santa for like a little while after that. So I think like some kind of like compartmentalizing and like I've actually never addressed it again.
Does she still believe them?
I assume she doesn't, but we've never addressed it again, so I really don't know. But we still, like, get gifts from Santa. Like, our parents haven't stopped doing that. Which I think is charming, even if you know. Like, I think it's cute.
Yeah.
And, like, fun.
Also, if I could share a funny anecdote.
Yeah. Well, no, because I took up all the time for that. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Well, okay, so whenever I would watch TV,
story.
whenever I'd watch Christmas movies or TV shows, I'd always be confused as to why Santa Claus gifts were always wrapped.
Uh-huh.
Like, were your Santa Claus gifts wrapped?
Were yours not?
No.
Why weren't your Santa gifts wrapped?
Okay, well, that's a story. I wasn't even there for this. I think this was like when my sister was little, but so my sister, she pointed out to my parents on Christmas, like, hey, Santa Claus has the same wrapping paper we do. And from that moment forward, my mom refused to wrap our presents from Santa Claus, so instead of just buying more wrapping paper.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's like a ridiculous way of handling it. I mean, ridiculous way of handling it in the way of, like, I know your parents are relatively well off. So, like, it's not like I'm like, wow, they couldn't afford another, because your parents absolutely could.
They could have. They absolutely could have afforded a couple more rolls of wrapping paper.
Your parents are very well off, and wrapping paper actually isn't even that expensive, so it's not
you
even
buy
like...
it at the 99-cent store.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I usually do. So, but, no, my parents just, like, were too smart for that. Like, they had a wrapping paper that was, like, Santa's wrapping paper, and they, like, only used it for Santa gifts. All of our gifts were identically wrapped. In fact, I don't even know if they, like, used their handwriting on those gifts. I think they're unlabeled. I'll have to check this year. But, they're either unlabeled or they, like, made, like, fake handwriting. It's very impressive.
They still put that effort into it?
I'm not sure. I'll check this year.
Okay. Because that's some dedication.
They do still put the effort in of unique wrapping paper.
Huh.
And all of ours having the same unique wrapping paper. So yeah, my parents got around that pretty easily. So I don't know what yours were doing.
Mine sure didn't.
No, yeah, mine were always wrapped. So I don't know what was up with your parents.
Yeah, just didn't bother wrapping, especially because, like, my family would always open all of the presents on Christmas Eve, so there wasn't even anything to open on Christmas morning, period. There was just a big pile of presents that were unwrapped.
Yeah, we've been having some real arguments about how that's going to go in the future. And by arguments, I mean we have a definitive answer and you just won't accept it.
We don't have a definitive answer. You just want to keep your tradition instead of taking mine.
We're keeping my tradition because it's better.
How is yours better?
Because it's more fulfilling to, like, unwrap, like, one or two on the night of and then have, like, a whole bunch the next day.
I mean, I personally like spreading it out over 2 days. You get, like, half one day and half the next day.
I think half is too many, because I think you're blowing your load a little too early.
No, you're not.
Listen, I'm fully in favor of opening one or two the night before and everything else the morning of.
Or, you know, I mean, I could open mine the night before, and then you can save yours as long as you want.
That's sad. Then we're not opening them together.
Anyway,
can I tell you a secret, though?
Yes, tell me a secret.
I actually kind of want to get you Santa gifts when we live together.
Go for it. Why not?
Like, get you ones that I don't label as from myself, and, like, I get out of bed when you're sleeping or something, and I put them under there.
I can't get you out of bed to watch an episode of The Simpsons. How do you think you're going to get out of bed to put present presents under the tree without waking me up?
Because once you're asleep, you're asleep. That's my final answer.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I'll have to... And I struggle with sleeping through the night, so... Right. Maybe I won't do it, like, when I'm supposed to, but I'll do it, like... Like, maybe I'll plan to do it at, like, 12:30, and I'll do it at, like, 3 a.m. But, like, I'll do it at some point.
Okay. So, I want to jump in to the real-life Santa Claus for a minute, okay?
Okay. All right.
How much do you know about Saint Nicholas himself?
He was allegedly real, probably.
Yeah, he was real.
He allegedly gave gifts to children, maybe. I think he was... Where was he from?
He was from Turkey, but he was Greek. That's what I'm seeing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, no, when I Google him, I'm seeing, like, a mix of different depictions of various skin tones and hair colors and things like that.
I think that's just how it goes when you are talking about people from several hundred years ago. There's just, you have no idea what's actually accurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what else do you know? Anything else?
Not really. That's pretty much all I know about the historical figure version. Just like alive a long time ago. Heavily debated what he actually looked like, and allegedly gave gifts to children. I don't even know what he's the saint of, to be completely honest.
Well, his most famous gift giving was actually giving gold to 3 impoverished daughters of a pious Christian so that they would not become prostitutes. That's his most famous one.
Sorry, not quite the same connotation as the modern day, but...
I believe in that story he actually put the gold in their stockings. That's like where the Christmas stockings comes from.
That's interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the real Saint Nicholas.
Oh, is that it? Is that all there is to report?
I mean, there's like more, but
Well, what is he the patron saint of? Are we going to just leave people... You were the researcher for Saint Nick in real-life history.
Patron saint of children, coopers, sailors, fishermen, merchants, broadcasters, the falsely accused, repentant thieves, brewers, pharmacists, archers, pawnbrokers, unmarried people, Aberdeen, Galway, Russia, Greece, Hellenic Navy, Liverpool, Bari, Sigiwi, Moscow, Amsterdam, Lorraine, Royal School of Church Music, and Duchy of Lorraine, students in various cities and countries around Europe.
Okay, so I know Catholicism isn't going to take my criticism or constructive advice, but I think, with all due respect, there needs to be more saints. I think some saints are looking a little stacked.
You can't just make up more saints, okay? So people have to be saints in life. Like, you can't...
Okay,
those don't come around every century. Like,
comb back through the history books and find some more, because you can't be a saint of that many things. That's too many things to be the saint of. It's too many. Like, I was under the impression that, like, everyone was, like, the patron saint. Like it was kind of like, oh, this is... I'm gonna get canceled for this comparison, but, like, I thought it was, like, Greek gods, where it's, like, you're, like, the patron... Well, I guess all of them cover, like, certain things, but I thought it was, like, you're, like, the patron saint of, like, one main thing. Like, music, or theater, or... I don't really know. I don't know much about saints, obviously.
No, in Christianity, I think you can just be a bunch of things. Like...
So, like, what happens? Like, how do they determine what you're the saint of, then? Because he's not from all those countries. Like... Do they just, do you have to, like... Well, you can't be a saint until you're dead, so you can't, like, make a list of everything you want to be, like, the saint of, I guess. And, like, Catholicism doesn't really have communing with the dead, so...
I mean, honestly, I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest here, this is not breaking the lore of Catholicism, and I don't know much about Catholicism.
Well, now I'm just interested in saints, and I want to know more about why they're allowed to be the saints of a laundry list of 200 random things.
I honestly don't know, but do you want to know one more of one of Saint Nicholas's most famous adventures?
I guess as a distant runner-up to learning more about how saint-related things work, it's acceptable, so yes.
So there's a story that goes that 3 children were chopped up into bits and put in a pickle barrel.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. And Saint Nicholas resurrected the children.
Is that, like, allowed?
I guess so.
Is he allowed to do that?
I mean, I honestly thought that Christians frowned upon necromancy, but...
Well, because I thought Jesus was special because he, like, brought Lazarus back. Like, I thought that was, like, evidence that he was, like, extra special bonus New Game Plus Christian. Like, you know?
I
Like, I thought
honestly
that,
have no idea.
because I thought, like, his big things was, like, one of, like, the biggest things is that he brought Lazarus back, and if he did that, but, like, St. Nicholas brought back 3 children that were chopped a bit, like, St. Nicholas is looking pretty talented in this story.
I mean, I don't want to sound blasphemous, but maybe St. Nicholas should be the new Jesus.
That does sound blasphemous. This episode is just breaking the lore. Sara and Nissa say various things that get them in trouble with, like, devout Catholics.
We're going to get an email from the Catholic Church. The Pope personally listens to our show. I know that for a fact. He's a close personal friend of mine, actually.
Listen, I'd love to get an email from the Pope. I'm not even Catholic. I just think it'd be kind of cool. And be able to tell people, hey, I have an email from... I'd probably print it out and frame it, even if it was, like, mean. And I'd be like, look at this. The Pope emailed me and said you were... The Pope emailed me and said you were really off base making all these claims in your podcast.
I would print it out, hop on an airplane to the Vatican, and, like, march up there and be like, hey, can you sign this? and then I would also hand the Pope a little piece of paper with a Steam key for Undertale on it.
You're the worst. Give him another game. He's already played Undertale.
Okay, he has already played Undertale, so I will gift the Pope a copy of Earth Defense Force 4.1 Shadow of New Despair.
Oh, I was going to give him Persona 5 Royal, but I mean, whichever works for you.
I think he'd like it. I think he would like Persona 5 Royal.
We can actually wait. Persona 3 has Jesus in it. We can give him Persona 3. That'll do it. This has nothing to do with the
Jesus
topic.
Games out there. I'm sure there's a lot of Jesus games the Pope would love to play. You know, he's a gamer.
Yeah.
He's got a nice rig, I think.
I don't think the Pope is a gamer. I don't think the Pope knows what, like, a nice rig even means.
So anyway, so Father Christmas now,
But wait, so he brought back 3 children that were chopped into bits.
Into a pickle barrel, yes.
And Catholicism is just, that's not the important part. And Catholicism is just, like, okay with that?
I mean, did you want the children to stay chopped up into bits to be sold off for meats?
No, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I didn't want that at all.
I think most people would be happy that the children were resurrected. So...
Listen, I'm just saying, the line's getting real thin between...
I found this on the web.
What? Thank
hi,
you,
Siri.
Google. What did you
guess
find
Siri
for me?
decided to contribute. What'd Siri find?
I found this on the web. I don't know what you found. It's not... I don't have a notification.
Oh.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for nothing, Siri. But, there's, like, sirens outside, and I was like, oh, they hear me talking about the chopped up kids getting resurrected.
That's the Catholic mobile. No, it's the Pope mobile.
It's the Pope himself.
The Pope mobile turned his sirens on and he's coming for you.
You're being blasphemous way too close to Christmas.
This is really close to Christmas.
But, yeah, for people who are curious, because of everything going on, we're actually recording this on December 22nd at 8 o'clock p.m. for me, Eastern Standard Time. So this is a very down-to-the-wire episode turnaround. And it's also delayed a week, so we just really are managing our time very well. But it's also the holiday season, and I got sick, so...
Yeah. So,
But yeah, so he did that, okay.
So, like, the next kind of step to getting to Santa Claus from St. Nicholas was, like, Father Christmas. And Father Christmas was just kind of like a symbol of Christmas, really. And he was kind of Santa Claus-esque, but he was more depicted wearing green rather than red. And one of the, biggest... Huh?
So is he just, like, invented when Christians made up the institution of Christmas to, like, combat similar pagan holidays? Like, was he just, like, made up? Did they just decide that he existed?
So the first known personification of Christmas, as in Father Christmas, was in the 15th century.
Okay.
And I can't find, like, the actual origin of that or, like, where the idea came from. I think it's just something that stuck around.
It's really weird, but interesting. Because, like, it seems like a weird facet to add to your, like, uber religious, like, celebrating the, like, chosen one's birth. Actually, wait, they don't call him
The chosen
I'm
one.
in so much trouble with Catholicism this episode. What do they call him?
Only Jesus can defeat Ganon.
You're so mean. What? Like Savior, Messiah? Like which one do they use? Savior.
Our Lord.
Our Lord. Okay. Either way,
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ himself. But yeah, it seems like a weird facet to add to your like, you're countering like, holidays and other religions, and you add like a random figure that has nothing to do with your religious celebration of the birth of your
I mean, yeah, at this point, like, Christmas had, like, started, like, absorbing the traditions of other, like, winter holidays. You know, like the pagan ones and all that.
Okay, so
I
it was
think
added
it was
like
already
well
becoming,
after.
yeah.
So it was added well after Christmas became a thing. Like
Yeah.
at Christmas, it was once Christmas, and it was once we started like consolidating the winter holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's an important distinction.
Mm-hmm. The Ghost of Christmas Present is like what Father Christmas typically looks like.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, he's got like. I think that's no, that makes total sense.
So, then we get to Sinterklaas.
That's I mean, that sounds German, so I'm assuming that's German.
Yeah, like it's Dutch.
Dutch. Okay, that's close.
So, Sinterklaas is like basically Santa Claus. He's based on Saint Nicholas, and he rides a white horse. And he has a big red book which records whether each child has been good or naughty.
Mm-hmm.
And he
So,
he
like,
brings gifts on the 6th of December.
So like I'm confused about the whole like connection between Saint Nicholas and Santa Claus. Like it's just like because it seems like him giving the gold to the 3 children who were gonna start sex work is like a footnote compared to bringing back 3 dead chopped up children, which has nothing to do with gift giving. Like, don't get me wrong, that's good too, but like it doesn't, like, you didn't mention what his other saintly feats were. I don't, does that even,
I'm honestly not.
does the one even qualify as a saintly feat? Because I
don't
don't
even
think,
know. I gotta be honest here.
just like charity like that really qualifies, even though it's cool. It was like really good that he did that. I'm not downplaying the importance of that action. It seems like a weird thing to become his legacy when he also allegedly resurrected 3 people from being chopped into bits.
I mean, that's just like the funniest story to me and like the weirdest one, but like he's really mostly known for his generosity.
Oh, well then why didn't you tell more generosity stories?
Because none of them are funny.
You could have mentioned that they exist. You could have been like, oh yeah, he does also have like a long history of gift giving and charity work. But no, you were all over the resurrection of 3 kids, which I agree, that's important to talk about because it raises some very interesting questions. But I think for the purposes of the connection between him and Santa, it was kind of an important detail to include that he did not stop his gift giving with that one specific instance.
I mean, yeah, and also like the gift giving, he did it in secret in the cover of night, and like he didn't want people to talk about it. Like that was another like big part of it.
Yeah, like he wasn't doing it for fame, but like
yeah.
Like, I don't know, if I like make a big anonymous donation, if I had tons of money, would that like qualify me, like give me part of the way to like being a saint? Is that how it works? Or were standards just like
I think you gotta perform a couple miracles.
Okay. I don't know how to do that. So I don't think it's happening. But yeah, no, the important link is the part that you just chose not to mention because you didn't think it was funny enough.
Yes, he was known for his generosity. Gave gifts under the cover of night. Yes.
Well, that's all very important. So
yes, it's like that did kind of become Sinterklaas. And yeah, so he it's on St. Nicholas Day rather than Christmas.
Which admittedly makes more sense.
Yes. So the 6th of December, that's when he would bring gifts for all the good children.
And then I'm guessing that got like further consolidated.
Yeah. And also his companions, such as the Krampus. And I don't know how to pronounce this, I'm sorry.
What is it?
Père Fouettard? Father Whipper?
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's French, I assume, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you did it right.
Okay.
You definitely pronounced pear right, that's for sure.
Okay, good. But yeah, so he dispenses lumps of coal and/or beatings to naughty children.
And then those were consolidated into like one figure who does both, except without the violent part.
Sinterklaas is also accompanied by Zwart Piet, Black Pete, who is usually portrayed in colorful Renaissance attire, curly wigs, bright red lipstick, and blackface.
You know, I think I remember like a distasteful joke in The Office about this. I don't remember because it's been like, again, over a decade since I've watched The Office, but I think that sounds vaguely familiar in a very specific way.
Yeah. I honestly don't know like what Zwart is like for.
I don't know. He sounds wildly insensitive though.
Oh, he distributes sweets to good children.
Aw, that's nice.
Cookies and candies, yeah. Oh, he's also apparently kind of the elf on the shelf.
Oh.
Listen at the chimneys of the homes they visited, to report about the good and bad behavior of the mortals below.
Oh, so instead of like when like I guess what do we assume now? Just does he like have magic omniscience or like does he like I don't know how we assume that he keeps watch on us, but
that's something we're going to get into because a lot of different media depicts that very differently.
And some of it I don't think depicts it at all. Like,
oh yeah, a lot of them just gloss over that part. He's just like omniscient in some of them.
So weird.
Yeah.
But okay.
Sinterklaas was also what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say what else?
Sinterklaas was also heavily based on Odin.
Interesting.
Yeah. So stuff like the like the white horse and everything, and
that makes sense. So he was like an Odin Saint Nick combo.
Yeah.
I'm sure Catholicism loved that. How does Catholicism, like really devout Catholicism, feel about Santa? Like, you wouldn't know, so I don't know why I'm asking you, but I'm actually really curious now that I think about it a little bit more.
You know what? Let's find out. How do devout Catholics feel about Santa Claus?
Because I'm really curious now. Like the more I think about it, like, because it's kind of like taking one of their like religious figures and like mixing it with like non-religious and like commercials. Like it's I don't know. I feel like they maybe wouldn't like it, but I'm curious. Because I just genuinely don't know.
I think for the most part they're just like cool with it. Yeah, I don't really see any complaints about it, which I'm kind of disappointed. But,
I'm kind of surprised. I think that there'd be like, because I mean, they complain about, because like super hardline Catholics don't like Halloween, right? Like I feel like I've known a few.
Oh
that,
yeah,
like...
yeah. I've known people that hated Halloween because it was a pagan ritual.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's interesting that they're completely fine with commercialized Christmas. That seems like something that they would also dislike, especially since it's so combined with like the pagan winter holidays that it like morphed into a composite of.
Yeah, I have honestly no idea. Like, I'm sure there's some sort of like fringe group that's just like the actual war on Christmas, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean this to turn into like war on Christmas conspiracy theorizing. I didn't even think of that, but like, because the war on Christmas just straight up isn't real. But I was just curious. So it does surprise me a little bit, to be honest. But whatever.
So then, like, all of that combined is like kind of how we come to get the modern Santa Claus.
Okay.
And like that, like the modern vision of Santa Claus was really popularized by A Visit from St. Nicholas, you know, the Night Before Christmas poem.
Is that what it was originally called?
That's what it's still called.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it's called A Visit from St. Nicholas. People just call it The Night Before Christmas because that's the first line.
It's called 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. That's the name
that's
of the book.
That's the first line of the poem. The book is called A Visit from St. Nicholas.
I'm pretty sure my book has 'Twas the Night Before Christmas on the cover.
You don't have the original version. Probably have one of the many unauthorized reprints.
No, mine's like really nice. It had like a really nice cover. You're so
I'm sure it
mean.
is. I'm sure it's a very nice book, but it's not what it's called.
I'm looking it up. It's a really nice looking one. It's like got some like gold embossing, like not like literal gold obviously, but like, you know, like it's very classy. It's very nice. It looks kind of vintagey. It looks like it's maybe an heirloom. But okay, so that all makes sense. But seems distressingly at odds with what I previously thought was a docudrama.
Yes.
Rankin Bass, Santa Claus is Coming to Town?
Santa Claus is Coming to Town, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. That movie has like disturbingly little revival of pickled children.
I understand. I agree.
And
I
the
feel
weird
like they
thing
kind of
is
ignored.
like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, it ignored that aspect, and it also, I don't remember a single subplot about children being forced to do sex work to survive. So I think they left that out too.
And there was no blackface.
None at all. I mean, I think I'm fine with them leaving that part out.
Honestly, yeah, I think it's better for it, but it's a very different depiction.
It also took place in Germany. It also wasn't like Greece or Turkey. It was Germany.
Was it though?
I mean, the leader of the town was a burgermeister, so I'd assume so.
His name is Burgermeister Meisterburger.
Yeah, and his guards were wearing like the World War I German helmet. That actually raises numerous other questions as well, to be completely honest. But
yeah, it's like
that was definitely not
historical revisionism is what I'd call it.
I was gonna say that was definitely not the 15th century or whatever year Saint Nicholas was alive.
No, it kind of looks like it takes place in like late 1800s.
Yeah,
early 1900s.
Like the helmets are definitely too early for like the 1800s, but I think the rest of the technology, like 1800s, feels pretty. And even like fashion, like I remember the teacher, she's wearing like kind of Victorian-y looking dress. So yeah, like late 1800s is probably where I would place that. Late 1800s Germany. So that doesn't quite line up with the history we've just laid out. I'm starting to think that this docudrama is very inaccurate. Next you'll tell me there was no mysterious snow wizard at all.
Not on any of the historical accounts I've read. But I mean, Santa Claus is coming to town is its own very different interpretation, but one that I think is no less valid.
Yeah?
Yeah. I feel like it's one of the most, like, complete depictions of Santa Claus in the sense that it tries to explain everything that's weird about him.
Yeah, like it does. Well, okay, I wouldn't say that because a lot of it is left up to, like, okay, it explains the reindeer very concretely. It doesn't explain why there's a random winter wizard or where his magic comes from in the first place. But,
Well, no, but we have to wait for the Winter Warlock, a Star Wars story for that. But, like, the stories also about Santa Claus and, like, the Winter Warlock is how he is able to see all the children.
Oh, right. I remember that now. He teaches him how to make magic snowballs. Magic snowball seeing stones. I remember that now.
Yeah.
But, like, some of the stuff isn't explained. Like, he just stumbles upon the elves, but they're also, like, the 7 dwarves.
The elves raised him. They were toy-making elves.
They were also the 7 dwarves, kind of.
They kind of were, yeah.
Like, I don't remember how many were there, because I want to say there was, like, okay, I'm going to count them up. I'm going to learn how to count live on stream.
Don't forget to carry the 1.
Carry the 1. That's a reference to Level Up Dub's Persona 5, in which I play many characters, but one of them is the Maid Cafe Maid Clara. And every time we get new stamp cards, she has to struggle with the very easy math of how many he has.
Yes, I think it's 5 elves plus the mom elf.
Yeah, Jingle, Ringle, Tingle, Wingle, and Zingle. Are they related to the Tingle family?
Tingle from Legend of Zelda was the he was kind of he's the runt of the litter. He was a little ostracized. They didn't really like him, so he left to become a fairy.
But doesn't his family have similar naming scheme? I don't remember Tingle's siblings' names in Wind Waker.
Oh yeah,
I know one of them's like David Jr. Because I know that's like a joke, but I think the other ones are like similar names of like his name, but with a letter changed. But yeah, so it does come down to like, yes, the elves in this are kind of like the 7 dwarfs, kind of, to be honest.
They really are, yeah.
But yeah, so Santa's abandoned as a baby. He is adopted by the 7 dwarves, and his mother is Tanta Kringle, and they raise him, and he makes toys, and the angry German dictator man, who's just the mayor of this small town, is like, I'm gonna run you out of town, and it's treated as a much bigger deal than it actually is, because he is, again, just the mayor of a small town. He can go to literally any other town in the entire country, but he falls in love with like a school teacher. She becomes Mrs. Claus, and then he starts delivering gifts in the dead of night because he's a fugitive. And I think everyone turns on the mayor. I'm pretty sure.
No. Burgermeister Meisterburger just like unceremoniously falls from power off screen.
Right, and they like throw his portrait in the garbage, and they put up a portrait of Santa. Right. As the years go by, Santa and his friends continue making toys and delivering them to Somber Town. I forgot it was called Somber Town.
The town's very somber. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know why oh right, he got injured from toys, and that's why he made toys illegal. I forgot about that. He like stepped on a Lego, and like he was like, no more. Never again. Forgot about that. Santa Claus is Coming to Town is fun. I
like it a lot, actually.
I was making little digs at it a little bit, but it's a fun special. I enjoy it. That's like an interesting one because like it implies Santa doesn't have many elves, or he has to get more, but I don't know where he would get more from, unless like all of them have kids, and then like every single elf he has is like one giant multi-generational family, which also raises the question of if the elves are immortal like him. Does it actually even address how he gets his immortality?
I don't even think he is immortal.
He's not?
It doesn't seem like he is.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, is Santa Claus immortal?
I mean, I assume he's... Okay, well, I mean, it depends. But, like, it seems like he's implied to be immortal in most things, I think.
I mean, there are a few where he's explicitly not.
He's immortal in... I don't know why the first example that came to my head was fucking Fred Claus.
I wouldn't consider that maybe like the pinnacle of accurate Santa Claus
depictions. You wouldn't consider that the definitive Santa source? He's immortal in that, though.
I mean, sometimes he is immortal, but not always.
Listen, that movie's kind of fun in its own way.
I haven't actually seen it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's like Santa has like a brother. That's the whole thing. His brother's played by Vince Vaughn. That's the... And there's like a like North Pole IRS or something. Is like there's like a like an efficiency officer who's like, I'm gonna shut down Christmas because it's leaking money for, I don't even fucking know who they are reporting to or like what. It's a very strange movie, but it's about how Santa's brother has to like learn the spirit of Christmas and stop the IRS from I don't know what's going on in that movie, to be honest, but Santa's immortal canonically in that particular movie. We should watch Fred Claus. It's really weird. I don't remember if I liked it or not, but it was weird. I think it was a good time at the very least. But but there are also things that like that imply that he's not. Like this is going on a tangent, but like Arthur Christmas implies that like, have you seen that one?
No.
Oh, I saw it a couple times at work. Back when I worked with kids. It's this one. It's. I'm surprised you haven't seen it actually.
I actually want
to. Something you would have seen. It's pretty fun. I'd say it's pretty mid-tier. It's not like something that I'm like crazy about and like have to watch every year, but it was like enjoyable and I didn't dislike it. It's about like a kid gets forgotten on Christmas and like the brother who's not in line for the Santa Claus throne is the one who cares, and like the other one is like a super efficiency driven military Santa essentially. So it's a conflict between like efficiency and heart. It's a really interesting movie. It's fun. It's a little like, it's a little cheesy, but it's fun. But that movie implies that Santa is like Santa has to have children or Santa stops. Which is interesting in its own right, in a mildly concerning way. Because there's like the grandpa who's like Santa from a while ago, and they have like a whole portrait hallway of Santas. Yeah, and then the like current Santa is like the son of the grandfather Santa, and then he has two sons who are like the conflicting. And it seems like it goes to the oldest, like whoever's like the oldest son becomes the next Santa, and the other one just does North Pole clerical work, I guess. Which also implies they all have to get married at some point, and they all have to like find a spouse and have children, and I don't know what happens if they only have a daughter. There's a lot of questions that come up from Santa being an inherited like familial dynasty.
Personally, I think it's time we had a female Santa Claus. We need a girl boss Santa up at the North Pole.
Why'd you have to take something that could be kind of fun and like make it cringy and horrible?
You don't like the word girl boss?
You said girl boss specifically for a negative reaction. I don't have a problem with a female Santa. Like I think that'd be fun.
I was joking. Like, no, there's no problem with it.
No, yeah, I think a female Santa could be really fun. I don't have anything against that. I don't know why you had to make it all like cursed. Like,
I just think the word girl boss is funny. That's all. I don't have a problem with a female Santa. I think it's time. But like,
I think, yeah, like in a series like the Santa Claus or something, like it could be a fun variation. Although I think there have definitely been stories about like, actually, I honestly think there might actually be movies with female Santa, because I think there's been like a couple like, I've never seen Noelle on Disney Plus, but maybe that one goes in that direction. I've never seen it, so I don't know, but I know that it's about like a daughter of Santa.
There have been a few movies about like Santa Claus's daughter, but I've never seen any of them, so I don't know what they do with the concept.
I remember like the old, I think it was ABC Family one that I've seen. I think she became Santa actually.
Good for her.
So I think actually there have been a few movies that like take the concept of like Santa has a daughter and she becomes the new Santa. But it's definitely interesting to think about Santa being immortal versus Santa being an inherited dynasty versus other various options. I lean towards immortal personally. I think that's what I like best. What about you?
I think all the stories have their merit. I like the idea of an immortal or just incredibly long-lived Santa Claus. But also I like the idea of it passing on to a new generation.
Yeah, no, I think that's fun and interesting. I think it'd be cool if Santa's immortal, but he can voluntarily pass it on.
Okay. And like, then does he die, or does he just keep living on, but he's not Santa Claus anymore?
I think at that point he would just like he wouldn't die on the spot, but I think at that point like
he regains his mortality and he's capable of dying, but he will still live on.
I think, but he'd still have like he's old, so he'd still have like
limited time.
But I think
he'd be living on borrowed time at that point.
Like I think that'd be part of it. Like you would know, like okay, I'm like old as dirt. Like if I give up my immortality, I'm probably gonna only have a few years left. Type thing. Yeah. But no, yeah, because I think I like the idea of like if Santa's immortal, being able to like if he finds an heir that he likes, pass it on, and like if he's tired of it, if he doesn't want to keep doing it, if he's like ready to, because a lot of immortals like get tired of being alive at some point. That's just like a common thread of immortality stories. So I think that's a fun way of like balancing the two almost. Like it doesn't lock someone's kid, because like what if they only had the shitty efficiency-driven military son? Then what, would Santa just be shitty for the next like 50 years? Like like I think the being able to pass it on to an heir but being immortal is like a good mix of the two that like kind of ensures you always have like a good hand-picked Santa and you don't get stuck in it forever with no way out if you don't want it. So where do we go from here?
But you know what I think is a really shitty method of picking a new Santa Claus?
Tell me.
If you kill Santa Claus, you become Santa Claus.
Okay, so we're talking about the Santa Claus.
Yes, we're talking about the Santa Claus.
There's a lot to talk about with this movie.
This one's fucking bizarre.
The Santa Claus of the universe is a very concerning... It's concerning for, like, there's going to be some talking points that I know other people have hit, but I still want to talk about them just because they're so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, no, we have to, like, obviously this breaking down the Santa Claus has been done to death, but I feel like we have to.
It's a crucial part of this episode.
Yes.
So, like, the Santa Claus. So, yes, killing Santa to become Santa. So did you know, actually, I learned this in a video I watched about the Santa Claus relatively recently. Originally, he was supposed to shoot Santa instead of, like, scaring him off the roof.
What? Tim Allen was supposed to murder Santa Claus in cold blood? Icy cold blood because it's snowing?
No, like, he would, like, think he was a robber, and because... Oh, come on, you can't convince me that Tim Allen... Any Tim Allen character wouldn't be a, like, I don't call the cops, I own a gun type character.
Okay, Tim Allen exclusively plays characters that would own a gun, and that does include Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. Well, Buzz Lightyear has a gun on his arm. He literally, in his toy, he has it's the, like, light up LED laser.
Yes, he has a laser built into his arm, yes.
Like, of all his characters, Buzz Lightyear canonically has a gun. But no, I firmly believe that any character played by Tim Allen, is one of those, like, I don't call the cops. And, like, has, like, a picture of the gun. Like, you know, those, like, novelty signs you see in, like, Texas and stuff. I've actually seen one of those before. But yeah, I think it makes sense. Like, I think he'd be the type of character to just, like, take out a robber he sees on his roof. But that's what originally it was supposed to be. Yeah, he was supposed to, like, go out, he was supposed to think it was a robber and shoot him.
That's dark.
It is.
Was this movie still going to be PG?
I don't know, actually.
Was this supposed to be an R-rated, the Santa Claus?
I don't think it was supposed to be R-rated, but
I mean, I got a pitch for an R-rated The Santa Claus sequel.
I think
if you want to hear
be.
It.
But yeah, it was.
If you want to hear it.
It was an interview. Oh, he did the interview actually relatively recently. It seems like.
Oh.
I think it was. Oh, it was very recently. It seems like maybe. Oh no, it wasn't that recently. There was just like a recent article written about it for whatever reason. Yeah,
Santa Claus articles get clicks this time of year.
2018 was when he gave this interview that he said he originally was supposed to shoot Santa Claus, and I believe the, like, execs were like, you can't shoot Santa Claus at the beginning of a family film.
We don't want to see Santa Claus get shot in our rated PG family film.
But yeah, that was so that I think lends itself to the bigger talking point of that being a bad method. But no, first tell me, yes, what is your edgy Santa Claus film?
Okay. So there's this, like, this hardened old military man, and he really, really wants to be Santa Claus so he can live forever. So he, like, on Christmas Eve, he, like, rigs up a bunch of, like, Home Alone style traps in his house, and he sits there with a gun ready to kill Santa Claus so he can become Santa Claus.
Sounds horrible. But I mean, yeah, no, that does raise those questions. Like, I mean, granted, this relies on the greater population not knowing that that's how you become Santa Claus, but that also raises the question of, like, I guess there's, like, the snow globes thing, which raises a fuck ton more questions, to be completely honest. And then I mean, we also have to get into the Mrs. Claus thing, which is kind of confusing as well. But yeah, no, killing Santa to become Santa is a very questionable method of transferal.
It's really, really bad.
Yeah, and, like, and I guess the elves are just used, like, a billion people have pointed out that, like, they're expecting him, and, like, they don't seem phased at all that, like, the old one doesn't come back.
I mean, that might have even been that Santa Claus's, like, first time on the job, and they were like, this guy's not coming back.
Do you think so? Because, like, I know people have pointed out, there's no explanation of what happens to his Mrs. Claus.
That's
like,
true.
she's not there, and and obviously it was because they hadn't come up with that plot point yet. But in universe, she's not there. It's not explained, like, what would have happened to her, and it's never even addressed, like, what happens to her if Santa dies. Like, that's not in none of the subsequent films. It's ever, like, brought up, like, what would happen. So, like, that does raise the question of, like, maybe this was his first year. Do you think?
I mean, either that or Mrs. Claus kinda, I don't feel
dies
so
at
good.
The same time as him.
Just kind of Thanos is out of there.
Well, because he fades away, so I guess, yeah, that would mean she fades away too.
And, I mean, if that happened, the elves they would have seen her fade out, and they were like, They would like take their little jingle hats off and held them to their chest, like had a moment of silence and been like, "All right, everybody, prep for new Santa."
I mean, I guess that could make sense. Like, if they, like, know that... If they see Mrs. Claus become one with the Force, they can be like, okay, yeah, no, he's dead. So, we're gonna get a new one. And I guess, like, because they are presumably immortal, maybe? Probably?
The elves seem immortal. That's the vibe I got from them.
So, then they're probably just used to this. They probably just accept it as a way of life, like, every, like, 5 or 6 or 10 years, Santa's gone. Unless it's, like, a really, really good... Like, I assume there's been, like, a really good one that was, like, Santa for, like, hundreds of years, and they were like, wow, this one's never gonna die, and then he died.
Yeah.
It was very upsetting for them. Although, if you think about it, there's actually tons and tons of snow globes, which implies that there have been, like, at least 100 plus Santas based on the snow globe room.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack with the Santa Claus, but I mean, okay, next question, based on, speaking of the, like, why does Santa become one with the Force, aside from the fact that they didn't want, like, a naked Santa Claus corpse on Tim Allen's front lawn in that film?
Probably because Santa Claus, his, like, life energy is sustained by Christmas magic, and, like, once he dies, there's just nothing holding him together, and he just turns to dust.
Do you think that's what it is?
I don't know. They don't really explain why he disappears.
They don't. They never... Because the other thought I had is, like, maybe because we already know that, like, time travel going back before your Santa magic exists, maybe he's, like, sent back to his life before Santa? But, like,
Tim Allen keeps living his life, and he's not Santa Claus for the whole movie.
That's also true. And also he kills him. It made a big point that he kills him. Yes. So it'd be kind of weird if that's just like you die in the Santa game, you wake up in real life or something. Like,
it was all a dream.
I get. And like when Tim Allen is sent back in Santa Claus 3, he's like very like he's like a changed man. So like they'd have to reset his personality too if you were like if you're like an asshole like Tim Allen and then like become Santa Claus. Because like when he was put back in his previous life, he just like couldn't have lived that life because he was just like, I don't want to work on Christmas. Where's my family? Like all of that. Santa Claus 3 was weird. We need to get into that one too. But I don't know what to say. It's very strange that you have to kill Santa to become Santa, and then Santa just like becomes one with the Force, and like, and then the Mrs. Claus.
The Mrs. Claus.
We have to talk. We're gonna go in order. We're gonna go killing Santa, the Mrs. Claus, and then the Secret of Santa, because that's the order the film series goes in.
I have a question though. Like,
yeah.
So what happens if Santa Claus dies out of season?
See, that's another good question, because like
he's not always wearing, the costume. And like you become Santa by putting on the costume.
Well, okay, after the original first year, that would only be a problem in the first year. Because outside of the first year, I assume like the elves take rigorous steps to make sure Santa does not die at the North Pole, and he lives at the North Pole. Because I'm assuming he can't die from like old age or disease or anything. Like I'm assuming he can only die from being killed. That's the vibe I get anyway. Because
that's fair.
The entire passing along the Santa privileges only makes sense if like he can only die when he's killed, in my opinion.
People die when they are killed.
Yeah, like I think Santa in the Santa Claus has the kind of immortality like elves in Lord of the Rings, where like you can be killed, but you can't like die.
I mean, I'm just kind of like imagining like Tim Allen in a hospital bed, and he just like flatlines and he like fades away, and the doctor's like, what the heck? Picks up his like Santa coat, and like he's Santa Claus now.
Okay, I think actually a big like proponent for me of the idea that Santa Claus cannot get sick and die of natural causes, and I'm going to say the same thing about Mrs. Claus. The North Pole doesn't have a hospital.
So can the elves not get sick either?
I assume so. Okay. I assume the elves are similar, like they have to get killed to die. Because remember in the third movie, there's a whole point being made that they're building a hospital for her to give birth in.
Oh yeah, okay.
So like,
wait. So like, they can die from like injuries, but like they can't be injured. So like, if an elf gets a paper cut, do they just die?
That's a good question, actually. It doesn't really address what would happen with workplace. I guess we're just supposed to assume that the magic of Christmas makes it so that there's never any factory workplace injuries and everything is all happy and safe, I guess.
You got a big sign that's like days since last accident, and it's like 10,000.
Yeah, it's just infinite. So I assume the lack of a hospital probably means that doesn't happen. Or maybe it's just the lack of a human hospital. I mean, it's not really specified if there's no hospital or if there's no human hospital.
I guess if elves have completely different biology.
Yeah. And then, like, Santa and Mrs. Claus aren't really expected to do any, like, hard work at the North Pole.
Yeah, like, and then if they die on the job, they die on the job. Like, psh.
Like, they're supposed to do clerical work, but they're not supposed to do, like, on the factory line, like...
Yeah.
Like, they're just supposed to look over paperwork all day, essentially.
I mean, you could always fall down the stairs, you know?
That's true. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Santa has to be killed.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with they try very hard to prevent freak accidents like falling down the stairs. I don't actually know what would happen in that scenario, but something, I guess. We're just not gonna worry about that. Maybe something with the snow globes and time travel, since time travel canonically exists in this universe. But yeah. So I think Santa has to be killed. I don't think he can get sick or die from old people disease. But yeah, the Mrs. Claus.
The Mrs. Claus.
It's very weird that he has to have a wife.
It really is.
And, like, something that, like, I saw pointed out that I, like, didn't pick up on myself. It takes a long time for him to have a wife.
Yeah, that movie came out a few years later. Like...
Yeah, like, his son's all grown up, so it's, like, a solid, like, maybe 5 or 6 years after. And they're like, oh, by the way, it's really dire that you get a Mrs. Claus by this Christmas.
8
or
years.
else.
Yeah, 8
Yeah,
years.
So in 8 years, they were like, we're just not going to mention you have to get married. And then, like, at the last minute, they were like, oh, by the way.
Okay, the elves all had this, like, secret, like, betting pool about how long he would last, and nobody expected 8 years. Like, everyone was like, this guy's gonna last maybe 2 years tops. Like, I feel like the elves are just so desensitized to Santa death that it's just a big joke to them. They just treat Santa Claus like goldfish.
That's horrible, but it makes sense, yeah. Because I was gonna suggest, like, because elves have such long lifespans, like 8 years is just like, they don't even, like, they're like, oh, a few months ago we forgot, like, you know.
You
but,
blink
like,
and 8 years pass, like.
Yeah, but no, yeah, that also makes a lot of sense. And they were like, oh shit, he actually made it, and he's probably gonna keep making it, so we should probably get him that wife that's gonna mess up everything. And, like, it's never addressed, like, what happens if he gets desantified for realsies. Like, if he doesn't get married, what happens? Like, does the universe randomly choose a new Santa? Or does he have to...
The universe randomly chooses a new Mrs. Claus. He's just forcibly assigned a wife.
But that doesn't seem like it's what's going to happen, because he stops becoming... Like, he looks like normal Tim Allen by the end of that movie.
Okay, so there's just no more Santa. Maybe that's it. Like, if he doesn't get married, there's not going to be a Santa.
Well, if that's the case, then, like... Well, okay, for that matter, how many people, when they kill a man, are going to put his clothes on as their first impulse?
He has a little business card that says, put my coat on.
If I killed a man and he had a business card that said, put my clothes on... I don't know what the fuck I would do, because I'm not calling the police because I'm going to go to jail for murder. But I don't know what's going to happen in that situation. But it's not going to be putting his clothes on, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, no, the Mrs. Claus thing is all very confusing as well. It's like, I get why, like, for the mythos, but also, like, who is this for? Like, it feels weirdly performative because no one knows about Santa.
It really, right? Like,
he doesn't necessarily need to have a wife because no one's going to see that he has a wife.
Who's going to know?
Like, I guess that just means that the universe has some magical rules for, like, what a Santa Claus has to be, and I guess that's why his appearance changes, and, like, why he has to get a wife, I guess. The Santa Claus films are a mess, which brings us into The Secret of Santa. So, like, The Secret of Santa. So a huge part of this is, like, the entire third film revolves around he can't tell people about being Santa, like, not even his in-laws. Which then, mind you, at the end of the film he does, and nothing happens. So there's not really a reason why he couldn't in the first place. Like, he does tell his in-laws everything. Mind you, his niece already knew. Or it's not his niece, it's his... What do you call a stepdaughter that's, like, not your stepdaughter?
I don't know.
But what is that ginger girl to him?
I have no idea.
Why is she ginger? None of her parents are ginger. Sorry, I didn't mean to imply that Scott Calvin's ex-wife was having an affair with someone who had ginger hair when she was married to Neil, but also it doesn't really make sense that like a black-haired woman and a brown-haired man made a ginger kid. But but anyway, I genuinely don't know what it's called when you, like, she's, like, your ex-wife's kid. I don't know what that would be. But, probably just no relation to you. He probably shouldn't have much of a relationship with that kid at all. But, he does regardless. But, no, because she already knew, which is, like, kind of weird. Like, there weren't consequences. Like, Nick finding out, I think Nick is his son's name, that was inevitable. Like, there was no preventing that because he was there when it happened.
Yeah.
But then he also, Neil and his ex-wife know. In the first movie, he, like, tells Neil and the ex-wife.
He didn't know that yet, though.
I mean, that's fair, but that still implies that there's no real, like, cosmic consequences to letting his in-laws know.
Yeah.
And again, nothing happens when he tells his in-laws. Literally nothing consequential. And, like, I admit the movie does address it sort of, like, it, like, because the bad future aspect implies that if everyone knows about Santa, Christmas becomes, like, Christmas is already very capitalist,
but like, why
capitalist times 100, I guess.
But, like, why doesn't anybody know about Santa?
But that's the question, too. And then, I mean, you could also argue that the only reason that bad future happens is because Jack Frost is such a capitalistic asshole. Like, he wouldn't have been a good Santa even if he didn't tell people the secret.
Yeah.
Like, the linchpin isn't that the secret got out. The linchpin is that Jack Frost is Santa, despite not being suited to being Santa.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's the problem. But yeah, no, why doesn't anyone know about Santa? That is a very good question. That's what we're going to address in, like, Elf as well when we get to Elf, which is probably going to be the next one we do just because it's an easy segue.
Yeah, this is, like, in a lot of Santa Claus movies. Like...
Yeah, this is a running thread. This is, like, the main thing I wanted to discuss in this episode. In movies like the Santa Claus, and, you know, we'll get into Elf, because this isn't even specifically the Santa Claus anymore. In movies like the Santa... And I think we've already talked about everything for the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
In movies like the Santa Claus and Elf and everything like that, everything that's the same vibe, why don't people know about Santa Claus? Since he is real and he gives out gifts.
And, like, to the point where if people believe in Santa Claus, they're like, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah, like, it's not even like we have religious differences or something. Like people are like it's not even like it's respected to believe in him. Like, it's treated like our normal world.
Yeah, but then he's real. And, like, the movie's about him.
And he gives people gifts canonically in both Elf and the Santa Claus.
So, like, the question becomes, where do those people think the gifts come from?
And then in Elf, it's even more confusing, because I was talking about having a specific age. In Elf, explicitly, he delivers to adults as well.
Yeah.
Because there's that scene where he's reading off the book, and there's, like, the haha joke of, like, oh, the, like, biker bar man wants a spa. And then the, like, reporter wants her boyfriend to propose. But Elf's a good movie. But
Elf's a really good movie. I like it a lot.
I like Elf. But yeah, so in both of those movies and every other one that falls into this genre, Sonic. Not Sonic. I don't even know where Sonic came from. There's nothing in my room that I'm looking at that would prompt Sonic to come into my head. If anything, I would have been more likely to say Godzilla than Sonic, because I'm staring at my vintage Godzilla poster. But yeah, so Santa, I almost said Sonic again. So Santa,
Santa Claus.
He, like, delivers presents. And do people just, like, never think about that?
I mean, the only, like, explanation that I think makes any sense is that for people who are married, they think the person they're married to is the one putting down the presents. But that goes out the window if you're not married.
And it also goes out the window if you, like, talk to your spouse.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of goes out the window if you have any conversation with your spouse about it. But I'd also like to, like, point out, like, I guess there's one other option, but I don't really like it. But also, if Santa's omniscient and spying on anyone, we've already crossed several lines, so, I mean, what's another one? He could modify everyone's memories to think that they bought it.
Yeah.
But then, well, okay, but that's the only other explanation I can think of. Like, if people don't believe in Santa, which would be everyone above a certain age, he modifies their memory so they think that they bought the Santa gift, even though they didn't. Or, like, they think that, or I guess, like, if they live alone and, like, wouldn't have bought themselves a present, they think even that, like, I guess they would think that, like, maybe someone from their workplace or their neighbor or someone, like, gave it to them and they, like, don't... Well, no, they would remember because he'd create a false memory of them receiving it. I guess?
I mean, I was going to say maybe they just thought they were taxpayer funded and the government did it.
What kind of utopian-ass governments do they have that they're willing to believe that the government is willing to subsidize Christmas presents for everyone every year? The government's giving us $600 as pandemic relief. They're not going to subsidize Christmas presents for everyone.
Christmas movies are a completely different reality and a better one.
I'd love to see their COVID stimulus package.
Their COVID stimulus package is like 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
But they're all made of solid gold and jewel encrusted. And will get you through several pandemics. But I guess memory modification, but also that raises the next question of why. Why would you bother going through that much charade?
Santa's humble. He doesn't want he doesn't want to take the credit.
But it just, like, I get it, but it doesn't make sense. Like, the entire secret of Santa in these movies, like, falls apart in terms of, like I get it, historically speaking, like, Saint Nicholas didn't, like, he wanted to just be, like, altruistic, like, anonymously fixing people's lives with money and gifts.
And there's also, like, in the Santa Claus, he was a wanted fugitive.
That was only one of the movies.
Like, I mean, that's another explanation you could use why he wants to stay secret, because he's a wanted fugitive, maybe.
Like, I guess, but, like, I don't know, like an elf. Like an elf. That's a perfect example. He literally needs people to believe in him. Like, he's like those Greek gods that, like, needed, or I don't know if that was the Greek gods, or there's some either like there's some like god theory, or fuck, it might actually be the Greek gods in DC Comics specifically, with like Ares and all of them. So that actually might be what I'm referencing instead. But like the idea that like gods need to be worshipped to like continue having power. Like if people stop believing in them, they just fade away. So like because like Santa Claus and Santa Claus and Elf specifically relies on that sort of mentality because he needs people to believe in him, because that's why the kid reads his book on the air. And like, so like, why does he bother with the secret of Santa in the first place?
I guess like knowing isn't really believing.
But that also gets thrown out the window by the fact that this kid reads his book on live TV.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, okay, every one of those New Yorkers in that space saw him. They know he's real. Definitively. Hard fact. Inarguable. Like, granted, I know the reporter has some line of like, I don't know what happened here tonight, but wowzer. But like, that's not even close to what her voice sounds like. But like, they're not stupid. They know that's what it was. Like,
yeah.
She's just saying that because she can't wrap her head around believing in a magical being that she probably stopped believing in when she was a youth.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it doesn't make sense why the secret of Santa would be a thing in that universe. And I get, like, believing isn't, like... But that doesn't even make sense, necessarily. Because
it really doesn't.
Like, believe in things that you can... Like, I know that, like, believing in something you don't see is theoretically more powerful, but, like, you can still, like, believe in... Like, I believe I have a figure of Rem from ReZero on my table right now. Like, I can see her, I can touch her, like, I believe she exists. So, like, it's not like you can't believe in something that you, like, know for a hard fact exists.
And I mean, like, even then, like, you can believe in something that you, like, know exists but have never seen or witnessed. Like...
Yeah.
I believe that a platypus exists, but I've never seen one.
Have you ever seen $1 million? No. Then how do you know that exists?
Yeah, see.
Brought it back around to the Santa Claus. That was my very unflattering impression of his son in the first movie. But yeah, we brought... Yeah. And then, I mean, again, the secret of Santa is out the fucking window at the end of that film. Like, yeah. They don't address it, but, like, it was on live TV. Like, I don't remember what year this movie takes place in, but I assume the internet exists. And,
it's like the mid-2000s.
Yeah, like, once that shit hits YouTube, like, it's over. Like, the secret of Santa is, like, done after that film.
You can do anything with special effects these days.
Well, yeah, like, I guess people would argue that, but, like, at the same time, like, the reporter's reaction to him knowing about the proposal thing, plus the footage of Santa flying over, like, I feel like that put together would at least be enough to, like, a sizable percentage of the population.
It was staged.
It doesn't... I guess.
All I'm saying is that's okay, that while it was definitive evidence for the people who were actually there, anybody who's seeing it after the fact can very easily just not believe it, think it was staged.
Okay, at the very least then, they're cavalier with the secret of Santa.
Yeah.
They're extremely, like, regardless of if it actually would make more people believe in Santa, they are very, like, they do not care about the consequences of that. Because I refuse to believe there's a 0% chance that wouldn't, like, just blow up the secret of Santa. And I feel like they'd have to know that. So, like, they're at least willing to risk it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, he's, like, a, like, known... We should also just address very briefly, I don't know what we're going to do with this talking point, but, like, he's a wanted fugitive and also known by the Central Park Guard in that film.
Yeah, he sure is.
They, like, randomly add in the third act that the Central Park Guard is, like, hunting him down because they were on the naughty list or something.
Right, yeah, the Rangers, they hate him because he put them on the naughty list.
So, like, they know he's real enough to, like, declare him their fucking nemesis.
Right.
Which, like, because they don't like him because of the naughty list, that implies that the memory modification can't be true because they know that he was the one that put them on the naughty list enough to make him the nemesis of them.
Okay, I think if you're on the naughty list, you know. Because, like, your mom's not going to give you a lump of coal for Christmas. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, then, like, things just fall apart all over the place. What I'm saying is that The Secret of Santa makes no sense in films where Santa is real and gives out presents.
True. It doesn't at all.
I think that is my ultimate conclusion. Like, the more we, like, circle around this, like, we can come up with, like, various, like, band-aids, but we haven't found a good way to, like, actually fix it.
No, like, yeah, we can try to plug the leak all we want, but really we just gotta shut off the water.
So yeah, it's always confused me. Movies that hinge on Santa being real, but people not believing in Santa have always, like, confused the fuck out of me. Like, I don't understand, like, how.
It's something that, like, has eaten at my brain for, like, 20 years.
I've, like, always wanted a platform to talk about how it doesn't make any sense to me and how it stresses me out a little bit. And this podcast is finally giving me a platform to be like, hey, it's really, really, really weird to me, and I've been thinking about it for, like, my entire life. That it's very strange that, like, in movies where Santa exists and people don't believe in him, how does that make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. I've always thought about it. I mean, I think watching the Santa Claus for the first time is what did it to me. I was like, why are they treating this like it's stupid? He's real.
It was the combo meal of Santa Claus and Elf. Just the two of them together. I was like, wait a sec. Wait a sec, they're getting these presents. Where the fuck do they think they're coming from?
Yeah.
There are rare exceptions. The two that I know offhand, The Grinch, specifically the Jim Carrey version, and Nightmare Before Christmas. In those ones, Santa Claus is real, and, like, everyone knows. There's no secret of Santa. He's just, like, a well-known existing person.
I mean, yeah, we don't have to talk a ton about this because we actually talked at length about it in our Night Before Christmas episode, so go back and listen to that. But, yeah, it's just, he's real and a known figure.
Yeah. Like,
it's just,
like in the... Oh, sorry.
It's just, it's wild because they're, like, this is Santa Claus. We know he's coming. And this is not Santa Claus. This is a skeleton man. Why is he here? This isn't Santa Claus. Like,
yeah, like, they report that he's, like, an imposter Santa. Like, they're like, this isn't the Santa we were supposed to be getting. This is some kind of weird monster Santa. But yeah, we did address that very lengthily in our Nightmare Before Christmas episode. So just go back and watch that one for more information on that. But for the Grinch, it's like, I made some tweets about this when we watched live action Grinch. But, like, all you have to do to, like, pull off a heist in Whoville is wait till Christmas Eve.
Yeah, dress up like Santa Claus.
You, like, because, I mean, it's literally well, we see Santa. We see him from a distance. So we know he exists, like, as a hard fact because we see him from a distance.
Yes, we do.
But also, when the Grinch, like, lands on Cindy Lou Who's family's roof, it cuts to the parents in bed. And they're like, wait, did you just hear a robber? And they're like, no, it's probably Santa. And they go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So, like, he's such an established thing that, like, they don't even think about home invaders on Christmas. Like, they're just like, Santa is real. That is definitely probably Santa. That's so, like, Santa is such a, like, confirmed fact within Whoville and The Nightmare Before Christmas that they don't really blink about someone going into their house on Christmas Eve.
He's like the milkman. You just know he's coming.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, I also talked about, like, how, like, because of Who culture, like, it makes sense that none of them would be willing to do crimes on Christmas Eve because it would ruin the sanctity of Christmas, and, like, their entire culture rests on Christmas being very important to them. But so like I mean, admittedly, if I lived in such a like Christmased up culture as Whoville, I probably also would not blink twice about home invaders, because I don't think anyone would want to ruin anyone else's Christmas.
No, because you know all your neighbors, and you know all of them are just nestled all snug in their beds with visions of sugar plums dancing in their heads. Like,
yeah. But yeah. So yeah, those ones are like rare examples of where he's like well known to exist, and the world just functions knowing that he exists and that he's real. And I don't think there's anything that's a problem with that. I think that's a much more sensical universe than like Elf or the Santa Claus, where he like mysteriously doesn't exist.
So have you ever seen Miracle on 34th Street?
Yes.
Any version of it? Okay, so do you think that really was Santa Claus?
Well, that's the point.
I know. I'm asking you what you think.
I think that's the whole point of the film. I think, of course, that's the real Santa Claus. That's the entire point of the film. How else did they get a house with like a special Christmas card in it? Put that in your pipe and smoke it, babe. How else did that happen if that was not the real Santa Claus?
No, hey, you're right. I think it was Santa Claus. I wanted to know your take.
I can't believe I didn't think to bring up the movie where Santa Claus is put on trial. I really should have. That should have been like the first thing I thought of, but that didn't even come to mind. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
I like that one a lot. It's a
really charming movie. It's really cute. It implies that Santa has like a lot of powers, though.
Yeah.
Because like it implies that he's maybe the reason why the parents get together.
Yeah.
Because she asks for a father and a house. And then like it implies that he has no issue delivering on a house, just flat. And then he maybe probably used magic to influence, which again, we're getting into all kinds of moral gray area with the omniscience and maybe the memory changing and maybe the like relationship influencing. But although I mean they already liked each other, they just needed a push.
They did, yeah.
I'm not suggesting he took two people who had no interest in each other and made them fall in love. I'm suggesting he maybe like pushed together two people who already like wanted to be together.
Yeah. It's like in Aladdin. Like Genie couldn't make him fall in love, but he could make Aladdin a prince so that they like could
I'm not trying to ruin a beloved family film by being like Santa forced these two people together. Like that's not what I'm trying to do. I don't genuinely think that. I think it's interesting that it implies that he has maybe some influence over them getting together. It's what you are maybe led to assume by like the fact that he delivers on every other premise of her wish and they get together.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not necessarily me saying that that's bad. It's me saying that's maybe the logical assumption. Is that he had some hand in that?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that's definitely one where, again, it's another one where like people just don't think they don't think he's real to the point they put him on trial.
And then he's saved by the United States Postal Service.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I think that's a great moral of the story, which is post office slaps.
Yeah. USPS. But that also raises the question, I wonder like how history progresses from that point. Like, do you think that like people like use that trial as fact and start believing in Santa, or do you think people like view that as like kind of like a weird like Judge Judy like celebrity trial that like probably was staged or like for fun?
I think it ended up something like you know that trial where the lady got burned by your coffee at McDonald's and everyone was like making fun of it, but
she was like actually horrifically burned and like she was very much in the right.
100% right, but people People were making fun of it because it was ridiculous.
I've heard about that, yeah.
I think that's how it would go. People would be like, huh, like the Santa trial? Huh. But, like, no, he really was Santa Claus. So I don't think people would believe it at all.
I think some people would, but I think you're right. For the most part, it would be like, and that guy who got off an assault charge for being Santa. Because he did assault someone.
He sure did.
But, he was provoked, though. I'm not going to say he was wrong for assaulting the person.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember what the context was, but he was right to do it. I'm going to say that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be treated as like maybe I'll get off an assault charge by pretending to be Santa or something like that. But I think there would also still be some small percentage of people who believe.
Oh no, I'm sure there'd be people who were totally behind it, 100%. But I think the general population would treat it like one of those frivolous lawsuits. I
like that scene where the judge's or either the judge or the prosecutor. I'm not sure which one. I don't actually remember if it's the judge or the prosecutor, but whoever it is, like his grandkids. He's like, "Aren't you gonna say goodnight to me?" And they're like, "Fuck you!" Like they don't say that because it's like a children's movie. And then he's like, "Why don't they like me?" And his wife's like, "Well, you're the one putting Santa Claus on trial right before Christmas."
Yeah,
I like that scene.
It's a fun movie. I like that one a lot.
It's not relevant to anything. I just think it's a really fun scene.
It's really good. So like this is like just a really brief one, but I just want to give us like something in Santa Claus's like ever expanding superpower set.
Okay.
So as depicted in SpongeBob SquarePants, Santa Claus can breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like Santa himself.
Yeah. In the Santa Claus in the SpongeBob Christmas episode, Santa Claus like shows up at the very end because like he doesn't actually come to Bikini Bottom, but he's like, "Thanks, Squidward, for giving away all your stuff so people believed in Santa Claus." But he's like live action, but he's in the ocean, just flying in his sleigh, and he's in the ocean. Doesn't have like a suit on or anything. He's just there. He can breathe underwater.
I mean, you know what? I think that goes along with, like, can't die unless you're killed. I mean, I guess that implies that, like, one of the methods you can't use to kill him is drowning him. So if you try to use that old, like, putting their head in the bucket of water and holding it down, that's not going to do it for you. But, I guess, you know, I'm willing to accept he can breathe underwater. I think once we've already accepted he is omniscient, he can maybe rewrite memories, he's maybe immortal, and he can maybe influence people's emotions. It's not too much of a stretch.
Okay, so wait, hold on. So what you're saying about Santa Claus needs to be killed. So he can breathe underwater, but if you have intent to drown him, then he can die.
I don't know how much intent comes into play. That's actually a very good question.
Because like you're saying, Santa Claus can be killed, but he can't. But if he voluntarily goes under the water, he can't drown.
I guess.
So Santa Claus needs to be murdered.
I feel like stories that like have characters that are like can be killed but can't die never really address things like that. Like if like intent matters when you kill them, like. Because I mean, hell, you could even argue the same thing like Lord of the Rings elves. What if one trips and, like, falls on a sword? I assume they would die. Like, I don't think they'd survive that.
No.
But, like, there's no, like, intent to kill. So
let's say there's, like Santa Claus, like, his sleigh is, like, on the ground, and a car, like, spins out and crashes into him, right?
Uh-huh.
Would he die? Because that's not murder, that's not intent, that's like involuntary manslaughter. Does Santa Claus die?
He doesn't drive cars, so it doesn't matter.
He's not the one driving the car, but if he's hit by a car...
Why is he walking along the road?
I don't know, maybe he's... Okay. I'm not gonna make a whole narrative around this. I'm just saying, theoretically, if Santa Claus was hit by a car, would he die? If the car wasn't trying to hit him.
I mean, I think he would... well, no, because I think that's the same situation as him falling off the roof. Like, it's not like Tim was like, I'm trying to kill you. He just like... because he just shouts up at him, and he falls and dies. So that's... yes, he would die, and you would have to replace him. That's the same as falling off the roof.
Okay.
So I think... I know what we're going to do, like, last, but I think the last big, like, interpretation we have for different brands of Santa is what I'm going to call, like, the Lifetime or Hallmark Santa. So, like, Miracle on 34th Street has shades of this, but, like, it definitely goes more all in on, like, he is, like, Santa as we know him, like, delivers presents and stuff, than, like, these versions do. I'm talking about, like, the versions of Santa where, like, they're in, like, Lifetime or Hallmark movies for the most part. I can't cite examples. I know you're going to ask. I can't, because literally every single Hallmark and Lifetime movie bleeds together for me. I can't.
They're all the same. It's okay.
I mean, like, you turn them on and there's, like, a 90% chance you see Candace Cameron Bure. Like, it's... they're all the same film. But, so, this specific Santa, he's more just, like, a magical old man. But, like, magical in the sense that, like, there's something kind of off about him, but, like, he always gives, like, perfect advice and stuff like that. Like, he's more akin to, like, an angel or God than, like, Santa himself, but he is clearly meant to be Santa. Like, he's usually, like, an old man. He's got, like, the white beard and, like, all of that. But, like, if he's wearing, like, Santa-like attire varies. He's not even always wearing red. But, he's always just, like, a strange old man that they, like, run into every so often who, like, gives them the advice they need or things like that. And then there's, like, always a part at the end where it's like, wait, could that have been? And he, like, winks or, like, they can't find him or, like, something like that implies that he was magic.
A little sparkle comes out of his hand or something.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, like, it's never, like... and what I think is interesting about that is, like, that Santa seems to be just more of, like, a, like, magical... like I said, like, almost like an angel type character. Like, more of just, like, a magical mentor. Like, there's no implication that he does the present delivering. There's no implication that he goes to every house every night or has, like, a workshop at the North Pole or anything. There's just an implication that he's a wise, Christmas-related, magical old man.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I've definitely seen some versions like that. Definitely, it's really weird and fun, and I mean those are always kind of dumb, but they're cute.
Like, actually, now that I think Christmas with the Cranks, like, kind of does that. Because Santa's in Christmas with the Cranks, and he's like that wiry old man who, like, brings the, like, ham or whatever. I think he tries to give. Is that Tim Allen too?
I think so.
I think Christmas with the Cranks is Tim Allen. Tim Allen, Christmas with the Cranks is all Tim Allen. So, back to crotchety Tim Allen in a Christmas movie. Because he, like, tries to give Tim Allen a, like, umbrella. So, like, yeah, there's, like, a Santa character in Christmas with the Cranks. I think it does imply that he, like, does the present giving out stuff at the very end. But, like, for most of the movie, he fills that, like, trope of just, like, the weird magical mentor. Which, again, like Miracle on 34th Street. Like, I think Christmas with the Cranks and Miracle on 34th Street are, like, their own, like, sort of step between the two. Where, like, it is implied he does all the Santa stuff, but throughout the film's narrative, he plays the role of, like, the weird magical mentor old man. But yeah, I think that's, like, an interesting subtrope of Santa. Is the, like...
yeah, it's a weird one, and I like it.
The version, it almost even harkens back a little bit to St. Nicholas's roots, where he's just more of, like, a, like, do-gooder, like a mysterious do-gooder old man, instead of, like
but he's got a little magic inside.
Yeah.
And if you chop up a baby into a pickle barrel, you might see that baby alive again sometime soon.
Yeah. I mean, the ham in Christmas with the Cranks gets run over by a truck, and he brings a fresh, nice one. So, believe what you will.
Well, if you want to be true to the spirit of St. Nicholas, that should be a live pig.
I know it should, but it's not, so... But yeah, I think it's a weird, interesting variation on Santa. And I do think it does have a little more St. Nicholas-y vibe to it. So this episode's getting pretty long. You want to top us off?
I think it's time to take us to our very last, very different version of Santa Claus. This is actually one of the earliest, like, versions of Santa Claus that was, like, popularized. And that is, L. Frank Baum's book, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus.
This was adapted into a Rankin Bass, right?
It was adapted into a Rankin Bass, and there was also an animated movie in 2000. There was an anime adaptation for 24 episodes.
Damn. That's kind of fun.
Do you want to watch the Santa Claus anime?
I kind of want to watch the Santa Claus anime, to be completely honest. I didn't know it got a 24-episode anime. There's some anime I really like that I wish got 24-episode animes. But okay, that's interesting. I think I've seen the Rankin Bass very briefly he's like raised by fairies or something, isn't he?
Yes,
like
he is.
I remember some like weird old man with antlers or something like that.
Yes. This one's actually very different. And it kind of takes the same, like, Santa Claus is coming to town approach, where it, like, tries to offer an explanation for all of the different aspects of Santa Claus. So, like, we start with Santa Claus. He's a baby. And he's been found by his name is Ak, and he's the supreme immortal, I guess. The master woodsman of the world. Okay.
I assume that was the old man with antlers.
Yes, I believe in Rankin Bass he was the old man with antlers, yeah. And so this old man is like, this is a baby.
Yes, it is.
So he's like, here, you should raise this baby, and gives him to a lioness named Shigra.
Okay.
So it's like, this is a baby. I know exactly what to do with this. Gives it to a lion.
I don't know why the man couldn't... I don't know why the human man couldn't raise the human baby, but continue on, I suppose.
But then he was also raised by the wood nymph, Nissile. Nissile? I don't know.
That's disturbingly close to my name.
Yeah. And then he is there... He's then, once he's, like, grown up, he is shown human society.
And, I remember that part. They take him to see things, and I remember he sees two people like killing each other with swords. It was very dark for a Rankin Bass, but I remember him like seeing two people killing each other with swords, and he was like, "Why do humans fight and kill each other?"
Yeah, he sees like war and brutality and poverty and child neglect and child abuse.
Yeah, the Rankin Bass did not water that down one bit. I remember seeing all of that.
And then he gets a cat named Blinky.
Oh, that's a shift.
So he's really nice to children. And he starts making toys. And get this, according to the book at least. He invented toys.
You know what? Someone's gotta. So.
What it says here is that he made a wood carving of his cat and gave it to a kid and said, "This is called a toy."
That's so weird, but okay. I'll accept it, I guess. Like, there's wood nymphs and fairies and stuff. Like, why not?
And he, so the other immortals start helping him make toys. And he actually makes, a replica of Nissile, like, out of clay. But apparently, he can't say that Nisile's name to the children, so he calls it a dolly. So
it's bizarre. I think we're almost maybe over-explaining things that don't need background lore in this novel.
He also consults with the Queen of the Fairies about whether or not he should give toys to wealthy children.
Nah.
I don't think so.
She says yes, I assume, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. So then there's these, like, evil beings who can turn invisible, and they start stealing the toys.
That's so weird.
They want children to misbehave, and the toys are keeping them out of trouble.
Okay, I guess. I'll take it, I suppose.
So this is why Claus starts doing it at night and going through the chimney.
So the weird mischief creatures can't catch on to that?
I don't know. I'm reading this from Wikipedia. I haven't actually read the book. I'm a fraud. I'm sorry.
And I don't know why that stops them. If anything, handing it directly to the kids would have a better chance than leaving them in the dead of night.
I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to at least watch The Rankin Bass, but we ran out of time. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So the invisible demons or whatever, so Ack declares war on them. And they're helped,
as well he probably should.
Yeah. So he's aided by Asiatic dragons, three-eyed giants of Tatary, Goozle goblins, and black demons from Patagonia.
Yeah, that tracks for Mr. Baum. That feels right.
Claus is not present for any of this battle.
Why?
Because he's not a fighter.
That's fair. He's just like...
He's a lover.
He's just a human. He probably couldn't have done much anyway.
He's a soft boy.
Okay, he's a soft boy. Continue on, ooh-woo.
And then Ack goes to Santa Claus and he's like, yo, we fucking killed him.
Again, as well they should have. Not a moment too soon.
So then Claus gets two deer named Glossy and Flossie to help him pull his sleigh.
Uh-huh.
And then he also, he reaches the dominions of the Gnome King, who wants toys for children. And then he trades a string of sleigh bells for each toy.
All right.
And then, so the deer apparently can only do this one day a year, so they choose Christmas Eve.
I guess there needed to be some explanation, so okay.
And this is when he earns the title of Santa, because he's giving gifts to everyone, and he's considered a saint, because everyone's like, he's so nice to everyone, so that's how he earns the title of Santa.
And is that, like, where it wraps up?
No.
No?
That's not where it wraps up.
I thought we'd hit all the bases, but continue.
No, not quite. So, so stockings hanging by the fire to dry, he thinks are a good place to put gifts, right?
Sure.
So he does that, but then he finds a family that doesn't have stockings hanging by the chimney. They don't even have a chimney. They live in a tent.
Oh.
So he puts the gifts on a tree outside their tent.
Sweet.
That's where Christmas trees come from.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then now here's where we reach the final section of the book, okay?
Okay. We're continuing quite through this.
Santa Claus is nearing the end of his life.
Oh, he's just gonna die, okay.
Yeah. So the Council of Immortals comes together, all of these magical friends that Santa Claus has made over the course of his life. And the council comes together to decide the fate of Santa Claus.
They couldn't decide that shit like years ago?
No.
He was raised by immortals.
So now, Santa Claus is on his deathbed. The spirit of death is coming for him. And he's finally granted his immortality.
Why did they... Were, the sprite and the lioness just, cool with him dying? They were just like, oh, our beloved son, who's done nothing but good his entire life because he's a beautiful young lad. We're just going to wait until the last possible moment to think about maybe making him immortal.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. I'd be pissed if I was Santa. I'd be like, you guys couldn't make this decision when I was like 30 and sexy? You guys waited till I was like an old ass man and then you finally, like, all this shit I do for you and you're finally making me immortal, like, now?
So at the end of the book, the immortal Santa Claus takes on 4 special deputies, and they must work in his place when Santa is captured by 5 demons. That's all the information I have.
That's where the book ends?
No, the book ends with later children's parents and various toy-making companies take part in gift-giving, and Santa Claus withdraws to his valley.
So that implies that Santa gets phased out. So then what does he do with the rest of his immortal lifespan?
He's just chilling in his valley.
I think that this version of the story raises a lot more questions than it answers. Which is weird, because it answers a lot of questions I didn't need answered, like where dolls come from. But, I'm gonna go ahead and say it raises questions that I didn't think I had, but now I do.
What are your questions?
Like, the 5 demons, his deputies, like, what the fuck's going on there? And, like, is he just, like he retires to his... Like, I guess that's a good way of explaining the whole Secret of Santa problem. But, like, what? Like, he was made immortal so he could keep doing his Santa thing, but now he's been made immortal just so he can hang out in his retirement village?
He has influenced the world of the living, of the mortals, so that they can give gifts to each other. They don't need him anymore.
But that just... I guess, but, like...
He created a holiday, and now people are celebrating it.
I guess. I don't know. It's just... It seems way too, like... Like, there's just too many questions that this brings up. This is a weird one. I'm glad this is the one we ended on, because this is a very...
It's bizarre. I like it a lot, and I want to read it.
Version of... Yeah, we should read it. I mean, I remember, if it's written anything... Well, actually, it sounded very, very heady and confusing, so maybe it's not written like The Wizard of Oz. Because when I was reading The Wizard of Oz, it's very easy to read. It's very smooth and child-friendly writing.
I mean, so this was written with children in mind, so I assume it's not.
Okay. And if it uses the same reading style, it should actually be pretty easy to get through. So we should read it. But it seems weird.
It seems super weird.
And the perfect thing to end this episode on.
It sure is. That's gonna do it for us.
I think so too.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and thank you for being understanding of the 1 week delay, because again, I got sick, the holiday season's busy. I'm actually, with the time we're recording this, I'm a little surprised that we got this out on time, unless we didn't get it out on time and we delayed it one more day, in which case, thanks for being understanding of that one too. But yeah, so you know the thing. You like the episode, tell people about us, follow our Twitters. Oh, because we plugged it earlier, and it's just good to plug in general, especially since I'm now helping out with the organization of it. Check out the like we said, the Level Up Dubs, Twitch Level Up for Charity. We'll post a link.
Twitch.tv/levelupfc.
Thank you, Sarah. But yeah, we'll post a link so you can check it out. Every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live fan dub. Right now we are doing Persona 5. We're actually in the end game of Persona 5. Persona 5 The Royal. So we're finishing up the end game of Persona 5 Vanilla, and then we're going to start the third trimester stuff. I play An Takamaki and Hideo Kawakami, as well as a bunch of other stuff, and Sarah plays...
Makoto Nijima and Tai Takemi, the hot doctor.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of fun. We're a big part of it. We enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and then after that, we're actually going to do the Ace Attorney trilogy, so you can look forward to
the
that.
next step. Mm-hmm.
So
just
yeah.
Thanks for listening. You can check out more on this channel, or if you're listening to this on Podbean, check out more of the Dude Media Network. It's a lot of great stuff there. Not a lot. There's like 2 shows, but it's all good.
Yeah. Check out our links. Check out social media.
And have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, just have a good day.
Happy holidays. That's what you could have said, Sarah.
I know what I'm saying. This is a Christmas episode, though.
Well, happy holidays from Nissa specifically.
Yes. Happy holidays from Nissa, and have a good day from